Hi, I'm Lee, and this is day 23 of my fourth trek through the Adventure Book Greenblood. Previously, we had spoken to the leader of the Westermen using magic to pretend they know us and that we're our friend and make our way inside. And they were starting to get suspicious of us, and they asked us how we knew them. Was at the Reaver's Inn in Besbaran. 3 of you voted to pretend that we met in the Reaver's Inn, and 2 of you wanted to make up an excuse to leave. So we will pretend that we met in Reaver's Inn in the far city of Besbaran and turn to 204. Yes, that was it, you reply. The Reaver's Inn, Besbaran. What a place, eh? Remember the one-legged serving wench who used to take her leg off and poke the fire with it? Asked the chief. If you say yes, you remember her, but can't think of her name, turn to 358. If you admit that you don't remember her, turn to 367. Now, this is a false choice. If we say we remember her, it eventually leads to our downfall. So I shall read ahead, but that kills us. So, 358. You say you remember the serving wench, all right? But you can't quite conjure up her name. She was never at the Reavers. That's the girl from Rainbow's End. The gleam in his eye dims a moment to be replaced by a piercing look of low cunning. I don't think I remember you at all. Guards? You run for the exit to the porch, but the guards cross their halberds in front of you, barring your way. Will you surrender and turn to 146, or fight and turn to 17? Both cause the game to end. So, if we surrendered and turned to 146, lots of thumbs and pages now. The chief looks at you as though scales have fallen from your eyes. From his eyes, sorry. Miserable trickster. You look strong and fit. A fine log puller you'll make. Valerian takes away your wand, and the guards strip you of your possessions. Without even asking who you are or where you have come from, they chain you to a yoke beside another slave. You begin a life of back-breaking work, pulling tree trunks from the fellers to the saws for weeks after week, year after year. Your pitiful existence is dominated by thoughts of how you might make a desperate escape before the toil kills you. And if we were to fight, we turn to 17. The odds are stacked against you as more and more guards pour into the pavilion. Together with the chief's advisors, they easily overwhelm you, forcing you to your knees before the chief. The Westerman's leader reaches for his sword, draws it back, and drives it into your heart, smiling evilly as he does. As you die, so too do the hopes of saving the Forest of Arden. So it goes badly for us if we say, yes, we remember who she is. But if we admit that we don't remember her, we don't immediately die. It's cracking. So we shall turn to 367. Your honesty stands you in good stead. The chief was trying to trick you, for there was never any such a one-legged wench serving at the Reaver's Inn in Besbaran. He's relaxed now. You can ask him whatever you like. So you can ask him about the Tree of Knowledge, or whether there was any trouble amongst the slaves or his own men. So, here's the thing. This is going to be my last recording, and there are reasons why. So, we've more complicated diagrams. So we can ask him about the men, and then from there, we can either eventually fail out, or we can go to this one, which leads us to 4, which is asking about which leads us to a good thing. Or we can go straight to ask about the tree, which leads to the good thing. So ultimately, this number 4 is where we want to be. And then after that, it gets kind of messy again. But, so, we shall ask about the Tree of Knowledge, because I'm going to give you some closure before I give up. The chief does not seem surprised you want to talk about what he calls the Tree of Life. He has been thinking about it himself a great deal. It seems he can't make up his mind whether to believe what Valerian the Moon Druid has told him. Valerian maintains the Tree of Life is the core of the elf's immortality. He counsels the chief to destroy the tree. The chief is still talking animatedly? There. When Valerian himself is ushered into the pavilion and announced by a guard. He is still wearing an all-enveloping black robe, black robe, but its hood is thrown back to reveal his hatchet-like features and black goatee beard. It is Valerian the Moon Druid, sire. He says he has important news. Shall we let him come in? Aye, let him. The speech of the Westermen is guttural and uncouth sounding, but you can understand their dialect. I'm not even going to try like that. It is the man you first saw in the inn at Berg. He bows before the chief, then wrinkles his nose and stares in your general direction. I have driven off the tree bears. You will have no more trouble from them. He sniffs again and moves his head from side to side, whilst fixing his gaze just above your head, giving him an almost comical air. The chief spreads out the map of the forest, and his advisors gather round, almost blocking your exit. Despite the risk, you wait to see if you can find out what they are planning, and turn to 4. Valerian's voice is markedly different from the guttural speech of the Westermen, but there is no doubt that he has thrown in his lot with them. It is plain they depend upon him for the knowledge of the forest and its many dangers. They are planning how to destroy and burn the whole forest tree by tree. Valerian has convinced the chief of the Westermen that his realm will not be safe until every tree, every sapling and every bush in the forest has been razed to the ground. You wanted to tell me something of note, Valerian. Else why have I summoned all my advisors? Indeed, sire. I have a plan to destroy the forest at a stroke. What stroke? By killing the Tree of Life at the very centre of the forest. Slay the Tree of Life, sire, and the whole forest, along with everything in it, will die. Well, your advice has been sound in the past, Valerian. I will do as you suggest and slay the Tree of Life. Write the code word Bullhorn on your adventure sheet, which has come up as a case of do we have it? If you want to interrupt and tell the chief that the death of the forest will mean death and destruction for the whole world, including him, turn to 198. If you wish to sneak out of the pavilion and leave while the going is good, turn to 38. So, if we were to turn to 198, we get given 3 options. This one ends. This one ends. This one leads to pretty much we have a fight using magic, which sounds awesome. Until I try to map it all out again. So, starting here, we can cast this spell, this spell, this spell. There are also 2 more spells. If we cast either of those, we immediately die. Game over. So with this one, if we have more than 8 life points, then we escape. If we then have less than 8 life points, we go to here, we die. We can cast this spell, and 2 options, kill us. 1 option then can either kill us or go well, and we escape, and so forth. So ultimately, a lot of it can go badly and we can escape. Or we can just leave and ultimately escape. By doing that, it takes us to a map we had an earlier one, where we then have a choice of 4 directions to go. Kills us, or goes to things we've done before. So one either takes us back to where we can meet the elves, and apparently we can make it Midsummer's Day again, which gets a bit repetitious. Or we can get lost and have the owl save us, and then the owl sends us back to the Westermen's camp. And it seems a bit, huh? So, not fully feeling in the spirit of it, because repeating myself in all those ways and either going for the other routes. So I could do a very, very long, complicated one where effectively I remove the choices and force us to meet the dragon. Potentially try and get the elves on our side again, even though we shouldn't be able to speak to them. Like, I don't know why we would want to come back to the Westermen's camp. because it relies on us having 2 code words. One of them we have, one of them we don't have, but that code word you get from meeting the elves successfully in a particular route. So it's just a bit, huh? So I'm not truly feeling it. Plus, when looking at how many views I get, how many votes I get more people generally voting than are watching them. So I feel like people are just basing it on the descriptions on Twitter, which is nice, but kind of takes away all this effort of reading what the options are, where I can just give a TLDR of, do you cast this spell, do you leave, do you do this, and kind of not the point. So yeah, so I'm thinking it's just going to end it there. It was mostly enjoyable. Sometimes it felt like a bit of a chore. Sometimes it felt like I was having very long, dramatic readings. Some of them was like 2 minutes in and out, easy for people to watch. So I don't think I'm going to do a 5. I might eventually do a 5 if enough people want me to, but then where do I start it from? We know that there is a good path through the inn, which can get us the maple flute. We know that using the flutes, we can not get lost in the initial forest. Potentially, we could go to the tower, assuming we have a character who can climb or pick locks, try and do something different there, but then we still end up having to go see Eleanor. We know that we really need to become the champion of the forests, meet the elves, and it's just a bit... I could read out all the different things, but it doesn't feel like it would add to it, really. I don't know. I mean, if I was trying to do like a truly weird version of this, I would just read all 500 things, but then have it where I could put loads of links on the page, on the video, and then you press which one you want to go to, and you could play it yourself, which feels like a lot of work. I mean, ultimately, this isn't popular enough that I doubt I will get sued or DC made or whatever it is for doing this and giving no credit to the writers, but I'm also making no money off it, so it's not like I can go, here's some of the money I make. But yeah, potentially get some other books or find some things online, or I don't know, but it just feels like there's no point continuing. So those of you who have watched all the videos, and I think the only people who have watched every single video is me, but if you're watching this one, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed it. Give me some feedback. Yeah,